She is beauty, she is grace, she is America's sweetheart, and she's struggling to go. Hi guys, it's Drew, and I'm back with a review of what I consider to be the best eyeshadow palettes in the world, the Viseart palettes. So let's get straight into that. So I just found out my Lime Crime Venus palette is fake, which is just great, which is really just great. I don't know, I bought this off of eBay and I presumed because it was like 20 quid it was going to be real. But it's not, and I am really frickin' pissed. Anyway, back to topic. I wanted to do a video of these Viseart palettes because they are a luxury palette. They are a luxury makeup shadow, but they're also a makeup artist brand, and I do truly consider them to be the best eyeshadow formula there is that I have tried. I've tried the majority of brands, and I do find these to be the best. We're going to get into all the reasons why, but for you today to show, I have my Dark Mattes palette, and I also have the Viseart Theory palette. Now the Theory palette contains 3 mattes and 3 kind of metallic-y shimmers, and this is all mattes. So it kind of gives me a good cross-reference to show you guys some shimmers and some kind of pure mattes, and to show you the kind of formulation changes between the two. That is kind of Viseart's two formulas, are the mattes and the shimmers. Now just before I get into this, do understand that yes, of course, these are expensive eyeshadows, but so are many other eyeshadows, and for what you're getting in these palettes, they're actually really affordable. They kind of work out to be about £5 per shadow, which is really, really good, and the formula is so far superior to other brands that it makes it totally worth it. So I'm hoping to keep this review super quick, so we're going to jump straight into the Viseart Dark Mattes. Now the reason I bought the Dark Mattes is it contains a selection of colours that are really quite hard to find by any other brand. There's not a lot of other brands that do these colours in a palette together, so there you go. One of the benefits from moving up from, say, a L'Oreal brand or a Maybelline or drugstore brand up to a professional makeup artist brand is you're going to get colours that aren't kind of typical, are colours that you're not going to find in drugstores, and this is a really good example of that. These are all shades I don't think you would find, say, by Maybelline or anything. You've got, you know, bright yellows, you've got dark plums, dark burgundies, you've got greens. This is a really great kind of editorial palette. Now Viseart do their own editorial palette, but this for me works better because I'm more likely to use these muted bright mattes, if that makes sense, because this is a bright matte, like come on, it's not like a brown or anything. So I'm going to get more use out of this than I would a neon pink, because I've rarely come across shoots where I need a neon pink. So I wanted to invest in, you know, palettes that kind of make sense to me and I'm going to use. For me, what I love about the Viseart palettes is the fact they just blend like butter instantly. They are the most buttery smooth shadows and they're just a joy to work with. I really do think if you have a chance you should try Viseart palettes, even if you can just swatch them at a makeup event, or maybe if you're in America there's a store that have them, but I know in the UK nowhere department store wise I know sells these, so they are something you have to go online. But they are so buttery and beautiful. They are really just truly, in my opinion, the best eyeshadow formula. Now there are some shades in here I use more than others. This dark purple gets a lot of use because it's a nice off dark. You can really put in your kind of outer crease and it allows you to kind of darken the eye up without going too crazy or blocking it out with black, because a black smoky eye isn't always what you want, and when you're kind of going for a red colour story you want to use a kind of purple base or a red base as the dark colour, because if you go in with a super dark black against a very irony kind of colour scheme like oranges and reds, it's going to look quite harsh and shocking and grungy, whereas if you want it to be a little bit more softer and cohesive you want to stick to a plummy purple or a red dark. I will say that if you're looking for that perfect burgundy, it's not quite in this palette. Let me just swatch one of the shades that I was really excited about that I ended up being slightly disappointed by. So these are the two, hopefully that's not too white on my hand, burgundy colours within the palette. If you can see that, they're not that super rich dark burgundy like, you know, my hair colour. That's kind of what I wanted a shadow to be like. These are a little lighter, And also, something to note about the Viseart palettes, they don't swatch as good as other brands swatch, and the reason for that is they don't contain as much oil. And when you have oily lids like myself, or you're working in editorial makeup, which is where my background is, I come from editorial makeup, I'm self-taught in editorial makeup, your lids tend to get oilier quicker under the lights, especially if you have hooded lids. I have hooded lids, and an oil-free, well not oil-free, but a less oily formula is something that's desirable to me because it's not going to run or transfer or disappear super fast. This is a really super palette if you're looking for something a little unusual, you're looking for that really 90s grunge kind of colour scheme, and you want to invest in something you know is just going to work. That's why Viseart is a makeup artist brand, because they just work. They're reliable. I never worry that these are going to not blend well or look patchy. They just work great. The other palette I wanted to go through with you today is the new Viseart 3D palettes. This is the Minx colour. Now the 3D palettes are kind of a colour story, and they give you the best of both formulas. You get the shimmer and you get the matte, and it's a small little package, and these retail for £35, whereas the dark matte retails for, I think, 50 to £60 in the UK. So inside these little 3D palettes, you just open it up. Inside you find this little tab cardboard box, and you just flip them down like that, and there you have the colours with a plastic casing over them. These are held in by magnets, but they are removable because they're supposed to be put into your own professional palette. Now I'm kind of using the word professional a lot. I just mean to say that these are really high quality. That's basically what I'm trying to say, guys. And if you're a makeup enthusiast, or you are a makeup artist or anything, an investment in one of these is going to take you far. This is a beautiful bridal palette. Now a lot of people like to go for kind of a cooler toned colour for bridal palettes, but I love to go for a warm, you know, especially under the type of lighting most bridal kind of events are in, are kind of yellowy. So something warm really complements that kind of lighting, whereas if it's yellowy and you have this really kind of pale base on the eye, it can kind of make the eye look a little washed out, whereas this kind of warmer colour story is phenomenal for that. Now I want to quickly swatch these three shimmer colours for you to get an understanding of their kind of formula. So I'm going to go ahead and swatch these on my hand for you guys, and as you can see, just look at the reflection of that orange shade. Like, it's insanely beautiful. Just insane. So pretty. So pretty. So here's a bit of a closer up swatch of that stunning yellow shade. Look at that. It just carried on to the end. Isn't that insane? So these are their metallic-y kind of foiled formulas, and it's just insanely pretty. Like, I've never encountered something this beautiful in an eyeshadow. It is absolutely phenomenal. So these swatch phenomenally. One thing I will say is though, they don't swatch well on your hands. The mattes don't swatch nicely, but the kind of metallic foiled ones, as I just kind of swatched on my hand, those swatch beautifully, but they don't apply to the lids that pigmented unless you're using your finger. You have to use these wet to get that type of pigmentation. But let me break it down the reason that is. When you see these swatches by brands like Natasha Denona and things like that, or even the Lime Crime have these new super foils they're promoting, they contain a high amount of oils. Now, the reason those are so metallic and pigmented is because they have such a high amount of oil in them that it clings all that pigment and metallic kind of glitter together, and when you swatch it, the oil holds it together and you're getting that beautiful shock of colour. So when you swatch a matte that has less oil in it, the pigments aren't going to cling together, and when you swatch them on your hand, they're going to look less wow, you will say. So the most pigmented formulas tend to be the ones containing the most oil. What Viseart have done is they've put a little less oil in them so they're more wearable on the lids, but you can still activate them with, you know, Fix Plus on a brush or some water and use them wet, and you will get that foiled shadow look that you want, and it just looks so beautiful. And this colour story is really cohesive. You can use this for a variety of looks. As I said, bridal's beautiful. I have it on my eyes just now. Today I used the chocolate and the cut, like that matte chocolate colour. Oh, that's so pretty. Like, just really chocolatey browns really just do it for me. But it's what I used today, and I used the chocolate kind of in my crease, and then I use the mid-tone all over, and then I use that the 3 kind of shimmers just to build a kind of gradient shimmer on my inner eye. But these are phenomenal formulas, guys. Take it from me, someone who's using these on set. They are absolutely beautiful, and they're the brand I consider the best eyeshadow formulas in the world. They truly are. I have swatched Natasha Denona, but I haven't actually bought any Natasha Denona. I've heard they're great. I also hear their mattes aren't as good as Viseart. When I swatched, they didn't compare to Viseart at all. And the Natasha Denona foiled ones, they are more pigmented going onto the lid than Viseart, but they contain more oil, so for someone like me with oily lids or using them on studio photography, it doesn't work out. So that's why I say Viseart are my top brand without a doubt. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've tried to keep this a little quicker than my other videos just because I wanted to get through it. A quick little review of Viseart. I strongly suggest you go pick them up. I will drop links where you can pick them up in the UK. As I said, that larger palette retails for about £50 to £60 in the UK, and the smaller one is £35. Invest in the smaller ones if you're just starting because they are so beautiful. I know it's an investment, but trust me, you'll never go back. And I really would love Viseart to start selling singles so you can build a palette, because I haven't seen singles for sale yet in the UK, so that'd be amazing. So hopefully, fingers crossed, they do that in the future. So as always, guys, love speaking to you. Hope you're all well. Happy Pride Day in New York. And just all of you stay safe in these crazy turbulent times in the world. And remember, stay blended.